It's always been a dream of mine for the Pestilence to hit harder than what it does normally. This exotic was purposely made that way in order to prevent it from being too OP. So naturally, it has a lower than average base damage. The reason is because Plague of the Outcast, which is its exotic talent, deals so much tick damage once maxed out, and that's a trade-off. You need to work for those stacks. Absolutely amazing in PvE because, you know, the Plague spreads to anyone in range. And that tick is based on weapon damage. So it makes sense to have the Pucaro's holster here, which gives me a flat 15%. So the goal is to have high weapon damage and high crit. All gear sets, as you know, require that 4-piece in order to work. This doesn't leave much room to add things like crit. And I'm talking about the type of crit damage where you notice it hits harder. I'll show you how much crit overall is on this build in a bit, but it's insane. Because along with the Pucaro's holster, I have the exotic Coyote's mask. Man oh man, the 4-piece Umbra already grants a crazy amount of crit damage, and this just adds on to it. Imagine someone else wearing Coyote's mask adding even more than that. And you may be thinking why I keep adding more crit. Well, that's because the Pestilence has been here for too long, being a mediocre weapon in the base damage category. So I'm going to revel in this to push it to its limits as far as they can go. Now look at the stats, and do you see how much crit hit damage there is? And this isn't all of it. You gotta factor in Coyote's Mask's Pack Instincts bonus. I remember back in the day I'd run into players using the Pestilence all red DPS builds, strikers, battle gear, and they'd use them against me in PvP. That build did hit hard to say the least, but it can't really compete against standard DPS builds. It's too squishy. This is why I'd never used the Pestilence for anything other than a build that was made for support, using the Vile Mask and a Trauma chest piece, then speccing in all status effects to increase Toxic Delivery's damage from the Vile Mask. I've done this many times in different variations of builds, but now it's time to fully embrace the Pestilence in a way never before Umbra Initiative got here. I was at first only concerned about the extra crit damage that Umbra offers, but remember it has a fire rate buff too. Man, every time I think that one weapon is the best for Umbra, something else comes along and puts it to shame. Not gonna lie, I'm having a lot of fun with this right now. I know many of you made an Umbra build with the Pestilence, but I'd like to know how you have it set up specifically. I know there's only 2 slots, but tell me anyway. That's it for this one though. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Be right out.
Well, after this area, it's just the courtyard, and then the boss room. One thing I do like about these bounties is that they're shorter than the regular missions. They're such a pain. You got the Dr. Home.